Oh, hello and welcome. I am Flat Cap Callum. I'm hoping you are all very, very well. I wasn't expecting you. It's quite late on a Saturday night, Sunday morning type time. Beginning of June. I think we agreed I'd be back in September. But to be honest, I thought it was about time. I just gave you a little bit of proof of life. So I am still here, still fine, perfectly fine, thanks. Just been a bit busy. I said I was going to have a channel break, focus on family. The bit maybe I didn't quite mention was this bit. Yeah, so I've got a new little friend in the back of house team. As you can imagine, that's taken up a lot of my time, and I'm losing a lot of sleep. So my sort of time for making videos does not exist right now. So yeah, channel break, focusing on family and fitness. Who knows whether he's actually going to let me carry on making the vid tonight? I don't know. We'll see how he gets on. We'll try and keep it brief. He doesn't mind a ramble, to be honest. He doesn't. I know some people do. He doesn't. He's perfectly fine with it. So we'll see how he gets on. Sitting in his bouncy chair, knocking about there. Hang on a second. What are you up to? All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're all right. We're all right now. We're all right. So new member of the family in my household. So yeah, big reason for not being on YouTube. So yeah, conspiracy theorists, you could put down your books. I don't know how much of that exists out there, but I'm sure people didn't quite take me as my word when I said I was off for family and fitness. I haven't really done the fitness bit, to be fair. Just been focused on the extra family bit. So that is me. So bleary-eyed, and that's about it. But he's doing very well, as is Mrs. FC, as are his siblings. So we're all good. Thank you very much. Yeah, so what shall I tell you? Well, September is the plan. I said it was the plan, still the plan. When in September? Don't know. Plan still is to come back in some fashion in September. That is what I'm currently thinking. I did say I would pop by on random days. I know like Saturday was Derby Day. I'm sure a few people folk thought I might be there, or Guineas or whatever. But no, I haven't appeared back. This is the first time I've been back. If you want to know when I'm back next, subscribe to the video. That's the easiest way to do it. It's entirely up to you. Doesn't cost you a thing. You just get a little bell notification. That's about your job. So yeah. Likewise, it's been very nice to hear from folk. There's quite a few people who've been emailing me in the last couple of months. Even my email address is on the description of the video. So, you know, if anybody wants to email and ask things and whatever, and, you know, occasionally I'll share things via that channel as well. So, yeah, a few people who very kindly reached out. So it's been nice to have a nice bit of interaction, to be honest. I've not really been on YouTube. Obviously, I haven't been making any videos and stuff. And I can't remember, it was like last week or something. I think I just re-put a post up or something like that. But yeah, that is me. Safe, well, alive. I mean, it's busy on YouTube in Tipster World as far as I can see. I was having a bit of a look. I was like, there's a lot more folk about, isn't there? You know, some good, some bad, but there's a lot of folk about there. So hopefully people have found themselves a new temporary home. Yeah, maybe it's permanent home. Maybe we're just sick of the sight of me anyway. But you know, when I come back, we'll see who comes back, who doesn't, and that's perfectly fine. There's plenty of folk out there. Depends what you're into, doesn't it? Right, tipsters and whatnot. You know, I don't consider myself a tipster. I have a stake in strategy. I have a selection process, and I share what I'm doing. I hate it when people go, "Have you got a tip?" Because I don't generally have a tip. I have a selection that is based on value, and it fits into a staking plan criteria. That's kind of how it works for me in my world. But as we all know, there's plenty of folk out there that you know, naysayers who believe there's you know, the only way to win is back short price favourites. I think in most cases that will see you into the poorhouse. Just picking one or two shorties a day. And suggesting that there's some value in some of them when not all of them actually shorten up. It's probably not the best way to do it. But lots of people make profit lots of ways. The way that I make profit is not how the vast majority of people who actually make profit. There's not very many people who actually make profit, if you catch my drift. Circa about 1 or 2%. But not many do it in the way that I do it, through accumulators and bigger prices. But I've got a back history of statistics that demonstrate that I'm able to do that. That being said, the bit of time before I was left on the channel, the January, February, March, absolute crappy, wasn't it? Statistically, I look back, yeah, February was like the worst month I've ever had betting in my whole entire life. And then March wasn't as bad, but it wasn't great either. The jump season this year absolutely did me in. I couldn't. I mean, people make this, see this joke all the time everywhere. It's hilarious. You can't even pick your nose. I can pick my nose, right? So I can. Just choose not to in public. Yeah, picking anything in the jumps, I was having an absolutely wayward jump season. So flats on, doing a bit better on the flat, but I will openly share to you the last few months since I've been on YouTube, I don't think the channel's missed an absolute Bahamas day. That has not happened in the 2 months I've been away. What I have been able to do is refine and try out different stuff, because I'm not doing loads of things for YouTube. I've got a lot more time to record stats, try out slightly different systems. And when I say different systems, I don't mean do a system for 13 days and then think you're the Messiah. I don't mean stuff like that, right, folks? So if you do a system, you need months and months of pure data to actually track that through. And the seasons are different, and the seasons change, the weather changes. You need months of data, not a couple of weeks, and then go, brilliant, here's the best system in the world ever, folks. That ain't how the world works. And more fool anyone who thinks that is something they want to copy. Anywho, I refine the system. So the last couple of months I've been doing lots of things around tracking absolutely everything, all the different types of races, to see where I've got a higher margin, or actually where I think I had margin where I didn't have margin at all in terms of types of races. Predominantly doing a lot more handicaps at the moment. So generally that's what the data's what the data is saying. I've been trying out different things around staking more on prices and high prices. So it's all been quite interesting, to be honest, in terms of just sort of seeing where you can find the sweet spots and where you can't. As a general observation, it was a struggle at the start of the year, and it's no different in terms of big prices at the moment. Those who've been with me on the channel for a long time, got a very good history of finding big price. Could even tell you I've had more big price winners than anybody else in the world. I wouldn't do that 'cause it's not true, but I've had quite a few, right? So in a couple of years, I had quite a few. Loads in Ireland, but probably not more than anyone else. Anyway, that's a big price winner. Some of you will get all these little things, some of you won't, and it'll go over your head, and it's perfectly fine. For those who do, hopefully it's amusing. What I would say is the big price winners are hard to come by. There's still a few out there in terms of some big results coming in. But the value is not there the night before or the morning in the way that it was, I'd say, a year ago, in terms of there's a lot less horses at kind of your 33s, 40s, 50s, 66 to 1 mark that actually have any semblance of a chance. Now, I think that's twofold. Maybe the bookies are getting a little bit sharper with some of the pricing up. Some of it also is potentially the over-round figure where the bookies are basically taking more margin. And even the night before, and that's where my hunch is that's where more of the challenge lies. But I'm finding a lot less stuff that I like at a decent price, and then actually those connecting is being a challenge. The round the sort of 20 to 25 to 1 mark is a good place at the moment. Beyond that, actually, what the last couple of months, it's been very, very, very tricky to try and find some big things. And obviously, there's loads of naysayers out there that will say you shooting in the wind if you're trying to make a profit doing some massive prices. You can do it. It's definitely harder at the moment. But yeah, the sort of 16, 20, 25 mark is doing all right at the moment. So trying different things. The other thing I'm sure will interest people at the moment as well, I'm doing some trials and systems on star systems. So people have asked me before about, would you ever star your horses to give it like an idea of weighting and stuff, and that's something I'm experimenting with. I've learned already you can't do it on a simple algorithm, so you've got to make it complicated, and then it's how much time it actually takes me to process how complicated it is. I think it's alright, it's just making some dinosaur noises. For anyone who's ever had a baby, you all know that dinosaur noises are things that happen. They don't sleep perfectly silently. Sometimes they sound like a wild animal next to you, like some sort of baby rhinoceros. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, star systems. So whether or not that's something when I come back on the channel I will do, I'm not sure. I've got to basically validate the data. Like I said, I've got, I want to get a good few months on it to see whether there's a cut-off point where if I put things through an algorithm that basically says these are the better starred horses, is there a cut-off point that says actually this line is where actually the ones that are overworth backable long term, and therefore it shows me where to cut some stuff off? Or as I'm also experimenting with, I'll get to a certain point where I'll probably then have to go, is the algorithm right? Do I change the algorithm around? That's that kind of stuff. So so all in the interest of trying to refine and get better margin is where I'm at, 'cause margin's been very tricky, that Liz, I tell you. But yeah, I mean, I'm still having a bet almost every day. If I find something I like, I probably would say to you I'm betting less horses at the moment. And I'm certainly doing more money on singles, just easier to get on. So yeah, my volume of multiples has massively shrunk down, but that's more about time, and also getting on is the harder things. In terms of the next few months, I don't know when I'll pop back and do a video. My plan is I'd come back when I think I've got a particularly good day, or I've got a little bit of time, or he's deciding to sleep really well, however it might be. So whether I come for some Royal Ascot, I don't know. I wouldn't call that at this stage. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see me till after Royal Ascot. Then you roll on. Probably a likelihood I might pop up Galway Goodwood. Who knows? York, maybe at the Ebor Festival in August. I don't know. And as to when I come back September, I don't know. I'm not giving you any commitment other than this won't be the last ever video. I'm sure there'll be a couple of people crying in their cereal watching this in the morning, knowing that fact. But yes, I will come back at some point. How long for and in what format, I don't know. I mean, in the meantime, pick and choose your moments in terms of what you're doing, who you're following. Don't follow people blindly. So if you are following other tipsters out there that exist, profit and loss. Where is the profit and loss? And does the profit and loss actually show you something that's true and accurate? Is it actually based off something achievable, rather than, saying, here's a lovely system, I'm going to tell you I advise everything through Betfair Exchange, but actually reality is I'll take best price guaranteed when I do anything to do with my stats. That would be slightly disingenuous, I would suggest. Likewise, there's tipsters out there that might say to you, here's my private tips, pay me £5, but lo and behold, if you go and search their name on the internet, you'll find that they've write free daily blogs that you don't need to pay for those tips anyway. By and large, they're not great tips anyway, and basically they just back Jack Shannon in the flat, Twiston Davis in the jumps, but Jack Shannon on the flat, because good contacts. It's amazing. Jack Shannon's horses don't all win every time, isn't it? So there's places to go, folks. There's places to go where most of you have been out there trawling YouTube. You know the ones to go to and the ones to avoid. And then anyone who's new, give them a bit of a try, give them a bit of a see. As far as for my money, if they're doing it for the right reasons and they've got a decent profit and loss that actually says what they're tracking, and you can track it. Not everybody does what I do. I think the right way to do it is to put the effort in to show a daily profit and loss with cumulative figures, and nobody can come back at you and say those figures aren't right. If it's open and transparent, I write clearly in the description of the video how I record the stats from the night before. I don't take best price guaranteed. I take the best price that at least 3 bookies are paying, and the place terms that at least 3 bookies are paying when the race finishes. It's all nice and clear. I don't then just only put the profit and loss up as and when I've had a good day. It's not how it works, right? And on this sort of channel, the way that I bet, we have a lot more losing days than winning days, don't we? So, anything else I was going to say to you? While you're here, do you want to bet? Anyone who's bothered to go 15 minutes, I mean, whether it's a good one or not, I can't tell you. I'm not saying I'm here because this is the zingest bet I've had in weeks. But I'm quite happy with it. I picked out 5 for Sunday, and these are the only 5 I'm backing. There's nothing else. Here's a bet if you want it. So this is legit. We'll go on the channel account. I mean, the channel account was absolutely getting hammered before I was off, so this might be chucking another 15.50 down the drain. So this is what I'm doing, but from the channel account, this is what I'm doing. Whatever you do with these, you decide to do whatever you do with. So bet one, the only bet for tomorrow. I've got one at Chantilly in the Prix de la Jockey Club. So that's basically most people would say the French Derby. One at Hamilton on the telly, if you're watching ITV Racing, and I've got 3 in Ireland at Listowel. All 4-place races, 4 extra so 4 places on most bookies, with the exception of Sky. If you've got Sky, you'll get best place terms. Like 3 of the races they're playing 5 on, and one of them they're paying quarter rather than 1/5 of the odds. So if you've got a Sky account, that'll be better. You just won't. You'll have to forego a little bit of the pricing. So it's a 15.50 bet. Let's see what I can remember from this. Those of you who are new, I don't use notes. I don't have like multiple screens. I'm in my kitchen. There's not multiple screens here telling me all sorts of data and whizzy stuff, right? I research them. I put hours into it most days, and then there's just a lot of stuff that goes in there, right? My brain's like a little computer. I don't remember everything. I can remember quite a lot. 242 Listowel, rumbled again. That's the best one of the day. The biggest price, best one of the day in terms of value is how I would describe it. For my starring system that I'm trialling, it comes out better than the others. So what do I know about that horse? Amy Jo Haynes is riding. I think that's a good selection. Her strike rate, I think, is something, I want to say 29% on 4 years upwards turf only races. So as in not the 2-3-year-old ones, and not Dundalk, take out that form, just on turf. She's being used quite well at the moment. And also interesting, if you look at the strike rate, she's got as much chance of winning as she has as placing. Process what I'm saying here is, as in usually you would have at least twice as much chance of placing, because you get placed for second and third and sometimes fourth. Her strike rate on wins is almost identical to her strike rate for placing. So she either wins or she doesn't make the frame. As in, she statistically hits more winners compared to how many hits she should hit from her framing. But her win strike rate is really good. Anyway, long and windy way of saying I like the jockey booking. Hogan doesn't use it very often. Standard one of these ones where it was trained by him, then it wasn't trained by him for a while, ran a bunch of duff races on the all weather, then they tried it over the jumps, it's come back to him, it's run it's coming back off the jumps, isn't it? Is it coming back on the jump? I'm getting mixed up. Now I'm getting mixed up, am I? With which no, it's all going wrong in my head. No, it's not coming back off the jumps. Bear with. I told you it's all in the head. Got to remember this. There's no script. That's down here, right up there. Not coming back from the jumps. It's run the last 2 times 5 furlong and 7 furlong handicap. This is a 6.5 furlong handicap at Listowel. It's run the last 2 the 2 corresponding meetings. It's run at Listowel. It ran second in Maiden, I think, over course and distance, and then last year it wasn't great at finishing position. It was 5th of 7th, but it ran a bit free and got a bit burnt out, I think, at the front. So I'd say the form of Listowel is quite good. There's not loads and loads of meetings on the flat Listowel, so it's hard. It's not a horse like a course specialisty type horse race. So it seems to be fine with Listowel, and I think that by read of it, they've got that down to a handicap mark where they're going to be trying with that horse. And I think Amy Jo Haynes taking 7 off is a nice move. And yeah, I expect that horse to be a lot better than the last 2 runs it's run recently. I think that's what I was going to say to you about that. Next horse, 305 Chantilly, Ramadan in the Prix de Jockey Club. Price really varies here if you shop around the night before. 14s to 25s. 25s, I think 365, down to 14s. 20s is kind of average. I'd say if you're getting more like 14s, 16s, you might want to just put it as an SP if you were doing it the night before. And wait and see. More dinosaur noises. The thing that will put most folk off this horse is the wide draw. It's drawn in the car parks, not really what you want to be in the Prix de Jockey Club. That being said, it's not insurmountable, and here we're not necessarily trying to say this is the best horse that's going to win. I think if I was saying that, Fast Tracker should be the favourite. Anyway, I'll come back to that. Ramadan, so it's out on the wing. That's the downside of it. Its form is the most solid. It just doesn't look progressive. I think it should definitely step up on breeding for the extra 2 furlongs. And significantly, it's got Chantilly form. It's won at Chantilly. If you look at any of the recent horses who've done well in this race from France, they've run at Chantilly and run well previously. There's a few that have come over from Ireland or UK that might have run okay, but predominantly the French horses, all when they finish in the frame, predominantly come with Chantilly form. It's a bit of a quirky track. It's not quite like Epsom in the sense of not much happens at Epsom, but it's not far off in that there's not loads and loads of racing at Chantilly. So you know, 50% of group races in France are at Longchamp. So yeah, it's a quirky track. So having course form should be quite good. So I think it's quite a solid option at 4 each way. As I said, I think Fast Tracker should be the favourite. Diego Velasquez should probably go off favourite for O'Brien, but that's only because it's O'Brien's horse. I think Fast Tracker's the horse to be on from a kind of a favourites point of view. All sorts of crazy noises coming out of that right now. So anyway, that's that. That's Ramadan. 420 Listal relevant range. I think that one's coming off the jumps. Jill Scott trains that one, I think who it is. And it is Billy Lee. Basically, you've got Billy Lee and Colin Keane. They pretty much win a race each day. Whether it's the races I've got on here, who knows? I've really been waiting for that horse to go back to Killarney. There's some meetings in Killarney coming up the next couple of months, and I think that's probably where it might be primed to go. It's not run at Listowel before, but they've got similar finishes. They've both got tight. When they get the end, they get round the bend. There's not much to go, and so you want a horse a bit more prominent, which is what relevant range is. So. Yeah, it's down to a crazy low handicap mark, albeit for a horse that I don't think it's actually won a handicap before. So yeah, I wonder whether today might be today. Billy Lee's ridden it quite a few times before. He knows the horse quite well, and I think from a handicap point of view, the handicap mark's great. Then we go 450 Listowel, smallest price and definitely the weakest one in the sense of sort of clutching at a bit of a story path on this one. Colin Keane's booked to ride it. It's never run on a flat turf handicap before. It won its last maiden at Tipperary over 1 mile and 4, and then that one went on the all weather, and then it went on the jumps. And this is the first time back on turf in a handicap on up to 2 miles. And yeah, you see this pattern sometimes with horses where they win a maiden or do well in a maiden, and then they go shove them over the Dundalk in the winter, and they're not really trying, and then they may or may not try them on the jumps, and then the time they then come bing it back to the flat, they've run the handicap mark down from it not doing well at Dundalk. The jumps then has a mild factor in that, and therefore when you get to a race like this, you go, okay, no one's going to look at it because it was a while since it last ran on turf. So I think handicap mark, they've kept it for a race to try. Colin Keane's booked, so I think that means they're trying, because Colin Keane doesn't tend to take too many rides where he's just going for the numbers. So that's in. And then the last one, 510 Hamilton, Mackinac at 20s. If you look at the last 20 runs of that horse, it's run badly 4 times. Draw or ground was the problem. Got the ground, fine with the draw today. Ryan Sexton's booked, he's doing well at the moment. And apart from the fact the horse has never run at Hamilton before, I really like the horse in terms of its frame chances at a nice enough price. So we've got 15p each way, lucky 31. 50p each way singles on those 4. And a £1.10 each way single to make it 50-50. £1.10 each way single, rumbled again, 50-1. That's my bet. Who knows? That could be the next one only one for 4 months. I could be back next week. I don't know. I'm not making you any guarantees when you'll see me again, other than definitely in September I shall reappear. So that's me. All right. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for all the well wishes I've had whilst I've been off, and I hope you've all been doing well and not losing your pocket money. And hopefully I won't make you lose £15.50 more of your pocket money if you follow me in. But it is entirely up to you. Please gamble responsibly, folks. It's fun. I'm not here trying to make you millions of pounds. However, we'd all like to go on Bahamas. Whether we all go together, be a bit awkward, but we can charter a plane. Maybe that's the way to do it. Anywho, That's me. Stay safe. Thank you very much. Keep well. Bye bye.